Welcome to The Exchange by Evolution, whereby we invite thought leaders onto this podcast to opine on latest trend, topic, and to share these ideas with the community. Today, I'm your host Sean from Evolution, and we have two exciting guests, Alvin from Avocado Guild and Tats from PlayMining DEA. And today we're going to talk about GameFi. Probably a brief introduction about yourself, Alvin.
Hi, I'm Alvin, Head of Engineering for Avocado Guild. I manage and oversee the engineering teams and also help the operations for the guild itself.
Hi, I'm Tatsuya, Chief Strategy Officer from Digital Entertainment Asset, the operators of PlayMining. I lead the global business for DEA here in Singapore.
Before we dive into the topics today, we would like to put out a disclaimer that none of these opinions, what we're going to talk about, is financial advice. So games is something that tons of people resonate with, and the evolution of game has changed tremendously through the decades of time and technology. So with this new term GameFi, what exactly is GameFi? Alvin?
Yeah, so GameFi itself, I would say in the most simplest terms would be gaming with an option for gamers to be able to get rewards, either through some economical means. So previously we had play-to-win games where there was only one way of gamers interacting with the game itself. Then now players are able to earn directly via rewards or other financial means.
Yeah, exactly what Alvin said. GameFi is the breakdown of games and the fintech or finance. So it's the fintechnization of games. And back in the days, right, we played a lot of games and we'll get in trouble like, oh, you're just wasting your life away. Because you're playing a lot of hours, putting a lot of energy and time into the games, but you don't get any monetary value back from that. But with this concept of GameFi, now you can monetize the hours you put into it, the levels you've gained in this game. So this is a new form of industry in the game and fintech.
Correct. So these games are really popular within the blockchain space. You have these NFT games that's coming up. How is this a game changer as opposed to the traditional games?
Want to go ahead, Alan?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I think the game changer definitely would be like what Tats mentioned earlier was, now gamers are able to gain rewards directly from the game itself. So one aspect you could look at is that if you look at gamers from, say for example, low-income countries, they're given an opportunity to earn from the game itself to supplant whatever main income that they have now. So that's one aspect that has improved. So that's it.
Yeah, the game changer is definitely the key word here is ownership. So you can now own your characters in the game. And he mentioned the play and earn aspect as well, but the ownership aspect now enables not just play and earn, but also, for example, you could sell these digital assets. They're considered assets now. So they have monetary value pegged to these characters, or you could even not just sell, but you can now lend. So people can borrow other people's characters for money. So now there's these new forms of monetizing your digital assets.
And I also think that like what Alvin has touched on, developing countries using this as a means of a source of income. The traditional games have a more higher specifications, whereas the new blockchain games, NFT games, it can be run on the low specifications, and that really helps with the low income family countries to really have a new source of income in that sense. And what about esports? With the traditional sports, and then past decade we have moved to esports. Do you think blockchain NFT games would also one day reach that kind of level, let's say the very recent Dota TI that we had millions of dollars in terms of prize pool money? When do you think we will reach that kind of stage?
Tats? Yeah, I would argue we're already kind of there. Yeah, there's a big blockchain game PvP tournaments online or in real life as well, with Axie Infinity recently in Barcelona. It's a big event, right? Yeah. So this is becoming an esport as well, I believe. For us, we build games as well. We have multiple NFT games at PlayMining, and our very first title is called Job Tribes. And this is a trading card battle game, and we have a PvP element to the game. So what we've done is done the PvP online, but just recently we've done some offline PvP events as well. So next month we'll be in the Philippines and doing a real life PvP tournament with guilds and players all involved. So I think it's already here. Yeah.
And with esports, let's say Dota, League of Legends, right? A lot of these competitive gamers, they have the kind of lifespan that's really akin to the traditional or professional athletes. Do you see that the same for NFT blockchain games as well in terms of professional gaming?
I kind of see it in a range. Like the professional gamers are like the world-class athletes level, right? Major leaguers. But there's going to be a lot more long-tail players that just play for like a few dollars, a few maybe a few $100s a month, right? But they're not going to be like, this is my full-time job. This is not. I'm not going to be a pro blockchain gamer, but I play and enjoy it, and I earn a little bit of like side income from it.
So it's really much of like the full spectrum of like helping someone build a new source of income to really competitive professional gaming in that sense, right?
It's all like professional leagues that we have. You have like the NBA, you have the G leagues, you have the Euro leagues, and then your apex of the apex players will always play in the NBA, so that's one section itself. But you have gamers that always play in the amateur leagues. They earn money from that. So those gamers are still okay with doing that. Yeah, because the gap between a professional and your amateurs is quite wide actually.
What are the majority of the age group that you guys are seeing that's onboarding the games? And even like, is there still like a female kind of stigma that's not making up the majority or even significant portion of the gaming community?
I mean, I could talk about PlayMining and our demographics. We're noticing around like 20 to 40s demographic age-wise, and we have a higher female ratio. So we have 46% females, higher in the sense of traditional gaming. There's not that high of a female ratio. And so what we think from what we're seeing trend-wise with our users is that we're able to onboard new users that are non-gamers. So we see it as like the core gamers and the casual social gamers, and now this new category, blockchain gamers. And we see a lot of female demographics more than the traditional gamers coming in, onboarding, playing games for the first time because the play and earn feature is there.
Right. Actually, that's interesting. So what kind of feature entice the female gamers on board? Is there anything special?
So I mean, this is just a specific story that I've heard from a community member over a Twitter space.
Yeah.
But this is a family, husband and wife in Japan. And the husband really loved our Job Tries game. Was very, very into it. Was very passionate, talked to the wife about it every night. Yeah. And she does not play games. But she started and she got really into it. And so she's leveled up very high at it as well. But they're mentioning that is kind of similar to collecting points, right? Like collecting points or collecting like saving coupons. So kind of
it's a family kind of
it's like a family experience. Save up and make a little bit of money and enjoy the process.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's that element of just earning a little bit, and there's a lot of people that like earning a little bit and still having fun.
And still spending time with partners.
Yeah.
I think we don't see that a lot in the past, whereby we have a lot of males, we really focus on the gaming or prioritize gamings with our friends. And in the last decade or so, we see that kind of pivot whereby, spouse, partners coming on board to games as well because of the influence of the traditional male who are more interested in games, right?
Yeah, I think you can see that with like games like Genshin Impact. I mean, if you look at their stats, they have about 45% female ratio. So you can see, like, I think it depends a lot on the game design, whether it brings the female gamers on board. So I think game developers can work on that, on how to bring them in.
I think the game genre is important as well.
Yeah.
So we have multiple NFT games on our platform, but our cooking game, which is like a multitask game, is very popular with the female demographic as well. So it depends on this person and like what they like as well. So I think what our key strategy is to create multiple genres and many different types of games so that we can appeal to more people.
Right. So can you share more like what's DEA, what's PlayMining, and what are you guys trying to achieve?
All right, so DEA is our company name. It stands for Digital Entertainment Asset, and we operate an entertainment platform called PlayMining. And the name itself, we play and mine crypto, is the concept behind PlayMining. And for digital entertainment assets, it's digital assets, but in the entertainment field. And our core business is the GameFi business, where we produce multiple NFT blockchain games. And they're all browser-based, so you can play on any device that is connected to the internet. And we produce many games, and we're expanding by licensing our IPs, merchandising, or even creating a new metaverse project. So we're trying to create a 360 entertainment business based on the blockchain and digital asset ownership.
Right. Sounds really interesting. And for yourself, Alvin, what is Avocado Guild and what are you guys trying to achieve as well?
For Avocado Guild, we work with companies that are like DA, that Tats is in charge of. So what we do is that we build communities, we recruit scholars in, and at the same time, one of our strategies is to help onboard Web2 gamers into the Web3 space itself. Because as we all know that, if you look at crypto itself or look at Web3, the problem is how we're going to reduce user friction to bring new users on board. So if you want to bring gamers to play Tats games, what's the strategy behind it? And we work together with them to see how else we can bring male and female gamers into the space. Also, besides games, we also want to bring more value to the community. Like, not only do we have games, we also want to look at build safe spaces for these scholars to come in, mingle around, meet new people, probably learn new skills at the same time.
Sounds really interesting, and you guys are living the dream, like most boys, right? I think we are still boys when it comes to games, right? Boys at heart, yeah. We all dream of playing games for a living and then working in the gaming industry for a living, and you guys are living the dream, right? Is this something that you guys have actually dreamt of or aspired to be when you were younger?
Honestly, not at all. Honestly, not at all. I was very addicted to games, but there was just no monetary value by being good at games, right? So then that stigma was very strong growing up, and I didn't imagine myself going 360, coming back to games, right? But that's why I really think it's a game changer for digital asset ownership, because these people that never play games are incentivized to play games because you can make money off of it. So I think that's something interesting, and there's a lot of use cases that can come out of this. So we're still learning, we're exploring too. Yeah.
Alvin, yourself?
Oh, for me, I think for me, I think my aspiration to be a developer started when I was pretty young, when I was playing Quake or Doom, those kind of games. So after the army, after I graduated from the army, I thought, okay, an opportunity came to me to start developing mobile games for a particular company. So I was recruited to this company, and I started doing the old Java mobile games on the Nokia phones and all that. So I think that graduated to me exploring different kinds of games, looking at different markets. I could see the evolution from small mobile phone games to the ones that you see now on iPhone and Android. And finally to Web3 gaming itself, because I started, before that I was involved in more blockchain kind of activities. Then when Web3 gaming came along, I thought there's an opportunity to find out, okay, what else can we do with Web3 itself? You look at digital ownership, like what Tats mentioned, how else can we empower gamers with the technology that we have in front of us? Right, yeah.
So, Tats, you mentioned at DEA you guys create a lot of games that's on browser mode as well, right? And Alvin, you touched on the point that Genshin Impact, a 3D game on mobile. Do you see that kind of change, or is that the direction going towards 3D gaming or setup in 2023? That's.
I think it's going to be distinct to who you're targeting, right? The core gamers are going to want something that's more immersive, like a 3D game, more like a AAA title. And then I believe there's the social game, casual gamers as well, that came about with the social media era, the Web2 era. And they're more actually open to playing casual blockchain games too. So I think it's just who you're targeting, but we will see more AAA title blockchain games coming out from mega studios. So that'll probably be the next trend in a year or two.
Your thoughts, Alvin?
I think definitely there will be more more 3D games coming out. I think that will probably cater to a smaller segment of players who have the hardware and the machines able to run these games. Like one example was I was testing a few 3D games out on blockchain. Those things run really slow on modern hardware, so that's a challenge. So you will still see a lot of gamers playing hyper-casual games, casual games, because that's where the majority of the market is at.
Okay. Yeah. So throughout this decade, the evolution of change, we hear a lot of like Web 2, Web 3. What about from Web 1? How has that changed or evolved since then, Alvin?
I think things have been a lot more interactive, more engaging. Gamers have a lot more choice nowadays. Right now we see things where, okay, I can play on a desktop and I can also play my game on the phone itself, transferring all my save games and data. So there's a wide range of choices, you can play to earn games. I think this is a very good decade to be in.
Yeah. At DEA, we like to think the eras from like Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. We hear this term a lot. But Web 1 era is often referred to as like the read-only era. Web 2 is like read and write. And then Web 3 is like read, write, and own. That's like the main type of how it's explained. But in the Web 1 gaming era, we like to think before the internet era. So gaming before the internet, you just play by yourself and enjoy it. Or you go to the arcade, put a quarter in, and then you play, right? And that was the Web 1 era. But then when the internet came along and the family consoles and the game consoles at home connected to the internet, you now could play from home and battle with your friends. So then there's a social element included in the Web 2 era. And then this is where you can fulfill your desire to be better than your friends, right? So you become competitive. And that's where most of the core gamers are. And then Web 3, when the ownership aspect comes in, this is when people can start like enabling other people by being strong at that game, but also lending your strong characters to other people and help them earn. So then this is like this whole new era where with the aspect of ownership, people can empower and enable other people, or they can make a living off of it or make some money out of it as well.
I think we all learn a lot from the Web 1, Web 2 games. What are the other things, or do you think specific implementations that can be learned and brought onto the Web 3 from the Web 1 and Web 2 games? Alvin?
I think more what we can adapt is how the Web 2 games used to a lot of intense gameplay designs to entice gamers to play the games regularly. I think one of the issues, I guess, with the early Web 3 games was that, okay, you are going to earn rewards from this, but where's the recurring gameplay aspect that you get people play over and over again? Yeah, so I think Web 3 games can learn from that. And also Web 3 games can also learn, I think right now we have this, I think we discussed this earlier, was how do you convince the Web 2 gamers to jump onto Web 3? Or are we going to create a new market segment for Web 3 gamers? So in the old Web 2 games, the challenge was how to get gamers to be adjusted to basically play to win games, right? How you're going to pay for DLCs, pay for microtransactions. So like for modern Web 3 games, how do we change that mindset and get gamers on board with this new idea of blockchain games?
Really interesting. And Tats, you mentioned, Web 2, Web 3, probably there's a linkage there.
Yeah, I personally see like a lot of excitement in the PvP element, so the social aspect. Yeah. So if blockchain games can incorporate that esport or like player versus player elements, ignite the competition, then I think there'll be a very strong community behind that. So I think creating a game that can be competitive is one of the keys.
We have talked about GameFi, right? How we have aspired to be in this space. But what's your backstory, personal story that draw you within Web3, not just GameFi? Tats?
Yeah, my story kind of goes back all the way back. But my grandfather's an artist, and that kind of shaped me into like really respecting creators. So I've always wanted to go in the creative industry, but growing up, it's like doing art, you're not gonna make a living, can't put food on the table with art. So I kind of went down the business road, IT road. That's how I kind of started my career. And one thing after another. I started off in IT, telecom, selling internet and smartphones. And from there, I was looking at my friends on like YouTube, Instagram. They're able to make a living off what they love. just by sharing it to the world. And that kind of gave me the idea of like, okay, the creator economy is real, and the internet and the Web 2 services we talk about now is really changing the game. And so I joined Facebook and Instagram because I really believed in that mission of community and empowering creators and doing what you love. And then Facebook became Meta, and I was like, what is going on? What is Web3? What is all this? So I was researching a lot, and then Goro, the founder of DEA, I was actually friends with him. And so he was like, Meta is going to be going the same direction as we are, so we should do this together. And did more research and realized, okay, digital asset ownership, this is going to be like what's really going to enable creators and empower creators. So I kind of, that got me in the door, Web3, and haven't looked back since.
Your background since young, the kind of upbringing and the influence that your grandfather had on you also played a huge part, right?
I think so, yeah. It drives me, like the drive to really create something that can empower creators or like enable people to do what they love is super inspiring to me. So I think for me, growing up, it's like I was playing games. And it's like I didn't think it would be of any value. So that personal story kind of ignites me as well.
Alvin, for yourself, personal background?
Yeah, I didn't have a great granddad that inspired Tats, but I had a dad who was always pushing me, to try new technologies, introduce me to computers. So definitely like him, like Tats, first foray into games was definitely the first computer. So I started playing games on that. And I look at Quake, I started playing around and modding the game itself. So that's why then I embarked on my journey. Okay, I want to be a computer programmer, right? I think there was a sliding door moment in time where I could have been an Air Force pilot. Yeah, I actually went for that, but I flunked out halfway through the course. So then I thought to myself, okay, I guess it's being a game developer then. So I went through like gaming startups, started doing mobile game startups, and eventually halfway through I started dabbling to blockchain. I ran through blockchain events, created my own blockchain news site called Crypto Central. We explored different platforms and the ICOs they had. And after that, I took a break from gaming after I was in Gumi Asia for a while. And eventually an opportunity came where Brandon from Avocado Guild asked me if I wanted to join him as a head of engineering for the guild itself. And I thought to myself, okay, I think it's a good time to get back to gaming after all this time. And Web3 itself is a pretty exciting space where, what can I do with NFTs? What can I do to help gamers, empower themselves? So this was a good opportunity for me to just jump in and see where this particular route takes me to. Yeah.
Really interesting. I think all of us sitting here, we have a belief in the tomorrow of blockchain, not just gaming in particular, but probably we can share with the audience, why do you guys think, or why are you guys so bullish on this blockchain gaming, NFT gaming, GameFi? Alvin?
I think we are very early into this space. Yeah, there's so many things we can try out. XC was one of the frontier stalwarts in bringing this forward, so we have to thank them for pushing that. Right now you can see people experimenting around with different features they want to bring gamers on. I think once we've broken the stigma of blockchain games, I think eventually we'll see an onrush of new.
Yeah, there's just so much opportunities that come about being able to own something or creating value. So for example, with the blockchain or NFTs or tokens, in the past, even right now, there's a lot of things in the world that cannot be like, you cannot put monetary value on it, right? But with the token, you can actually put a value on it. And if there's value to it, to somebody, you can actually put monetary value to it. So that concept of putting a value to something you can't really see or grasp or put monetary value to is going to be a game changer and opening up so many things. I think not just GameFi, but in every single industry, it's going to penetrate this blockchain, the token economics, NFTs, all this will come in. So just seeing and being creative and thinking like, how can this technology empower more people, not just creators or gamers, is very exciting every day.
You can see the different kind of use cases for NFTs like IDs or asset ownerships, real asset ownerships. So there's a lot of things happening right now.
Yeah, that's very true. That's all the time that we have today. Hope that you enjoyed the content and learned about what is GameFi. And thank you, Alvin, Tats, for coming on board to our podcast and sharing with the audience your expertise. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience before we get them to like, subscribe, and follow our socials in the description to the next podcast? Anything else you guys want to share?
All right, DYOR, but Web3 is the future.
Yeah. Play to enrich, educate, and empower.
Thank you. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.